The reality is also, and I've seen this with my cases, that when people who are really seriously injured and feel isolated, they reach out through Facebook. It's the way they connect to people to feel less isolated. So I'm not being, you can see I'm obviously very concerned about this issue, and we all should be. But I understand that for clients, this networking can be very supportive for them. And they can be, at times, moved to display stuff and to communicate stuff about their condition, their emotional state, their lawsuit, etc. So I'm not faulting them, but it's very, very hard to get our clients to shut down completely. Very, very hard, because they use that. It's just a part of their lives. Younger people more than older, but not exclusively. The law is not yet clear. It is developing every day in various jurisdictions with different outcomes. Even in our own jurisdiction here in Philadelphia, a case decided by Judge Manfredi, which somewhat restricted access for discoverability. Case by Judge Teresco reported, he ruled people could access it. Employers are asking potential employees for their passwords for Facebook. Colleges are asking applicants for their passwords. So it's not to mention how defendants are asking plaintiffs for their password. There is, let's start with what they can get, what people can get from the sites themselves. For the most part, that is the hardest thing for anybody to get. That's not the source. Even to get a response to a subpoena is almost impossible from Facebook, and they make that clear. Despite these efforts, the bigger problem is whether or not our own clients, and I'm stepping away from voluntary disclosure for a moment, whether our own clients can be forced to disclose this information or if it's protected in any way. Most important case in Pennsylvania probably to date is this McMillan case out of Jefferson County, in which a guy who claims that he was rear-ended on a speedway claimed physical injuries. And the issue is whether they could get him to disclose information on his sites. Is there a modicum of expectation if you limit accessibility to your sites? Maybe. What the courts say is, let's assume that the site is private enough that somebody else couldn't look at it and only get your name and your thumbnail picture. What the courts say is, generally, although not all, no fishing expedition, no general saying, you have Facebook, give us everything, give us your password. Some courts say yes, but the majority of courts who have decided this issue say no. However, what they say is, if there is any indication from what you see, or what you can find out on your own, that there's something in Facebook that's relevant to an issue in your case, and most often it has to do with damages, then we can, what the courts will say is, yes, you must turn it over. This threshold type requirement is generally required. So what that tells me to tell my clients is, don't be posting some stupid thumbnail picture of yourself partying. Now in McMillan, this fella had posted pictures of himself and had pictures that showed him doing things that were inconsistent with what he said he could do, but not directly inconsistent, sort of generally quality of life stuff. There are even courts who say that if it goes to your quality of life diminishment claim, and there's a picture of you anywhere that shows you doing something inconsistent with that, we can open the door. That scares me to death, because that's so broad. Pictures have this thing called tagging with names and identifications, which you want to learn about. Somebody else, they can go through and may be able to find a picture that says Alan Feldman, it's tagged in somebody else's picture down the seashore, and it shows Alan, on a surfboard. That's accessible, and so I tell my clients, no pictures anymore. I tell them a lot of things about shutting down highest privacy settings. I tell them, don't talk about your injuries, your case, your attorneys, your employment, money, potential settlement, no photos, no social activities, sports, vacations, or descriptions of your psychological or emotional state. I caution you to have this conversation on the first interview with your clients and find out what they're using. Get access to it before they shut it down. There's a lot of stuff out there that's developing, and keep abreast. I think it's important for all of us to do that. Thank you.